And we are live from the citadel of the Internet, Cambridge, Massachusetts, which has no competitors whatsoever for being the leading city in the world where things Internet are created, developed, matured, gotten rid of, and replaced. Yes, we are a place of change and no second opinion about it. My name is Dr. Jeffrey Lant. I'm the CEO, the founder, the co-founder of this remarkable place. And I urge the world, if you have not been to Cambridge, come to Cambridge. It's like going to Rome in the 1st century AD. Everything that is happening in the world, good and bad, happens here first. This is where the brightest minds of the world gather at every level to rethink, to renew, to redo, to discard, to do again. And I like to think of myself as being part of that. I am addressing you from the Worldprofit American headquarters, USA headquarters, in Cambridge, right in the middle of Cambridge. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about what that. Now we can see the landscape. Since the last month or so, we didn't know there was a Cambridge underneath all that snow. We just thought there was snow. But now I can see out my windows. This is where George Washington took command of the American Army, the Continental Army, in 1775, took place right outside my front door. Dr. Dawes, who rode with Paul Revere right past my front door on his way to Lexington and Concord. Reverend Fallen, who was the first professor of German and physical education, and a notable voice for anti-slavery, lived on this very plaque that I'm speaking to you from. And of course, I'd like to add my name to that list too, but we'll be doing that a little later. I am grateful to have with me Pastor William Buck. This is a very, very busy weekend for him, of course, being that he is in the religious activities. What have you got to say to these people? You got any Easter wishes for them?
And what we're saying to you, yes, it's time to make a rise up in your business. That's what we're talking about. Make a rise in your business, people. Because if you're not business-minded today, the technology will pass you by. One day we was in the industrial world, now we're in the technical world. And if you don't want to learn the ways to do the technical things you need to do, build your business, you are in the wrong business. So come in and see what we're all about.
Remember, if you do not keep up to date, you will be part of the problem, not part of the solution. And no special openings will be made for you if you're this or that, or you only want to do it for an hour or two. You've got to live with the curve. Those that don't get up on the curve and stay on the curve will die because of the curve. Today I'm going to give you a whole host of information. I want you to get a piece of paper and a pencil because I've got so many goodies to share with you. First of all, I want to read an article to you that has become a classic. And I've been thinking a lot about why it became a classic. And classics tend to create themselves. I didn't sit down one day to write a classic. I sat down to write a book of truth and an Americana story. And as I began to write these articles about my family, it became obvious that I was following the great footsteps of the great Midwestern rock writers. They would include Sherwood Anderson, and of course, Carl Sandburg, and others that came out of the Midwestern tradition, as I did. And I'm proud of it too. Writers write about what they know about, and this is writing about my childhood. And one of the things I discovered about this article was how many people had memories just like these, but they hadn't gotten them written down, and they thanked me. They said, "Thank you for writing this for me." Because, of course, the article is about me and my family, ostensibly, but in reality, about the second line, it becomes about the reader. And there is not a person I've ever spoken to about a series of articles that hasn't said that you were writing about my family. And these articles were for me. And indeed, they are. So I'm going to read you the first one. This I believe, is the very first in the series. And I wrote this because my sister was bugging me. Well, that's a regular occurrence. When my mother died, she called me up and said, "You have to write the obituary." And I said, "I've never liked obituaries. I don't like them now. I don't like the dearly beloved daughter of, son of, 3 years in the Rotary Club. I don't like any of it. It smacks of an impersonal thing where when at the time you need it, it's a personal thing the most." So I told my sister if she wanted an obituary, she could write it herself. And she said, "But you're the writer." I said, "That's why you should write it yourself, because I am the writer. And no one has ever done before. I'm going to write a series based on incidents of a real person's life, what they meant. what they tell us about our life, our family, our friends, our culture, our civilization. This article was written March 19, 2011. It's called simply Easter Eggs. I'm going to read it to you now. And you will understand that these stories are not superficial. They cut to the heart of issues. And there's one basic issue here, that every woman who has children is afraid of the answer. Was I a good mother? It's a dynamite question of all time. The older I get, the less current holidays mean to me, and the more those from years, even decades ago. I see the vivid Easter displays these days. Pharmacies seem to have the most in them. These festivals and windows, the bags of candy, and of course the seasonal cuddlies do not speak to me. They merely mark the calendar as just another day. That was not always the case, but years and unrelenting death have so thinned the ranks of the significant players in human rights that the dead now significantly outnumber the living, of whom I am yet one. I do not mind giving up this present holiday. There is little enough to lose. But I would mind relinquishing my memories of Easter days gone by, for there are my beloved ghosts. Each and every one is vital in my mind's eye, as quick, not long defunct. And because these folks are even more precious to me now than then, I wish this Easter to remember them with a medium of eggs, colored eggs, hidden eggs, Easter eggs. My mother's Easter eggs. Without any effort whatsoever, I can see her in the way the narrator in Thornton Wilder's play Our Town in 1938 saw his characters in granite stencils. She was young and beautiful then, far, far younger than I am now. She worried, as so many women before and since, about whether she was a good mother and had outside work responsibilities. When I was much older, it was me if I minded her being away when I came home from school. I was too young to know just what I should have said. So I stumbled through an answer I hope get comfort, but must have. Perhaps it was some scintilla of what I said, what I should have said. So I stumbled through an answer I hope gave comfort, but must have. Perhaps it was some scintilla of this guilt, I cannot be sure, that drove the yearly Easter egg project. Or perhaps it was simply that this messy business was sure to make her laugh. I was there, but perceived little. Today I will see much more, all impressions secure in my mind's eye. I quite recall when we go to Woolworths first, and then our local general store and post office, run by Mr. and Mrs. Mackey. I never called them anything or other. Folks who knew all, but were most times grateful and discreet. Both places would have had the Easter egg coloring kit by pass that was de rigueur this annual kitchen table ride. The kit had the necessary color palettes, special swirl colors too, for advanced day coloring, and a host of decals with seasonal themes. We only used the second ones. Some of these were certain to be found later in my brother's hand clothes. He tried to do as much to me, but I was older and wise to his tactic. Hardly laugh about it now. At first there was order and efficiency. Uncolored eggs here, tablespoons for these eggs for dipping, hot water, needed vinegar on the stove, pellets here, decals there. This sensible ordering of the event was gone in an instant, submerged in uncouth behaviors, reaching around and over, and clever sibling sabotages. And always laughter that firmly established more than any query ever could. But yes, she was the best of mothers. How could she even wonder? And so, some telltale signs of the battle tabletop, the now colored eggs packed up, except for a few, purposefully to Grammy's house, where we were rambunctious and much loved, visited almost every day. Grammy had attacked these eggs, and we knew partly what it was, for these rituals were yearly done. Each year, Grammy and Grappy, their 4 adult children, and their spouses would mastermind the family Easter egg hunt. There was never any question where it would be held. And while it was not so grand as the nation's egg roll at the White House, it was as meticulously arranged and punctiliously celebrated. All aunts contributed the necessary elements. Colored eggs, of course, always the subject of high scrutiny and devastating comments eventually. Homemade cookies, the honor of their sex ensured we never had others. And mountains of Easter candy. It started with chocolate, rabbits, and ended with jelly beans, and circled back to chocolate again. Excess was the order of the day. Children were encouraged to play outside. Important doings were underway in the kitchen and in the rec room below. The men had the task of determining the hiding places in and out and carefully writing each location down. These men might grumble, but they never missed this crucial aspect of the affair. They would have been anyway. We all ended each day at Grammy's house and kitchen perforce. No invitation ever needed. At the appointed hour, Labor Easter Day, after a heavy formal luncheon which lost nothing of our solid living Hanoverian ancestors, the grandchildren, and that meant every last one of us, were gathered in the starting point of the garage, where on ordinary days Grandpa was showing off his latest Oldsmobile and his own automated garage door. The children as yet had neither. The children's Easter eggs. Grampy and his two sons and two daughters, sons-in-law, and my father, were in charge of order and efficiency. This year would surely not be a repeat of what happened last year, but it always was. The children were all sternly and solemnly admonished to put what they found in their Easter basket, and above all else, to let one of the hovering adults know where they had found it. As always, the organizing theory was excellent, but the reality ensured the customary mass chaos and much laughter. The youngest grandchildren could never recall where they had found that Easter bunny, which was already absent in the year. His children, inspired by me, the oldest of all, were practiced predators. We knew all the best hiding places and went to them like a bat from hell, erasing all order as we went. Such, perhaps, was the truest indication that we were a family, each and every one of us. Unwilling to end the giant game of hide-and-seek, the grandchildren hid and rehid the eggs, now mostly broken and inedible, and candies too. They were only to be found, what we were sure to find in humid July, in the toe of his winter boots, obvious and pungent Easter egg artifact. So, that's where that one went. No Easter, however, would have been complete without my father taking us to the feed store and reviewing the new colored chicks and ducks, red, blue, purple, green. We were allowed half a dozen or so. Before we left Grammy's, we got to show our less fortunate cousins what we got. That's all, none ever to be eaten. Now all this exists in minds only, but because I have summoned this story, it is all quite clear. So many fond details and lost. Not lost, but here after all these years. So I say to every parent, grandparent, and distant aunts and uncles to this day, live this day, and hug every memory close. Each one is yours, and precious too, not one to lose. It all starts with the colored egg, my privilege too long forgot, to do this day and all, each one alive in me, as I am alive in them. Now, for those of you who are always telling yourself that you're going to write the story of your life, that you're going to not forget to interview your father, the children have their point, just do it. I don't want to hear any more. I would never want to hear any more person come and say, Dr. Ladd, you have inspired me. Well, where are the words? Well, they are too busy. If you are too busy for this, you will never get a good remembrance of your family. What do you think of that, William? People are always saying they want to talk about their mother, their grandfather, where they came from. They never do. What's your advice?
That's what we're saying. Learn how to put pen to the paper, because the only way you're going to get a great memory is to have it in front of you, review it, to look over it. And not only the pen to the paper, but you also can set up videos of what is going on. Because those videos only last on what you can see.
Seat to the chair is my most important one. For those of you who are interested, and I know that at some level you all are, I've written now over 100 of this particular genre of articles, which is the equivalent of a couple of books. And I think in the new year, or any year that I have nothing better to do, if such a time ever comes, I will put these all together so that people can understand what the most important thing that you can write about is your family. Because if you don't write about them, they die. When there's no recollections, they're dead. They don't die until they're no recollections. It isn't a physical state that determines whether they do. Do you write? Did you care? Did you put everything carefully away in boxes? Did you mark the things? No. You all know you should. So without further ado, we want to go to jeffreylantarticles.com, Jeffrey, Lant, articles.com, jeffreylantarticles.com. Type in family and you'll be overwhelmed. Type in Lance, type in me, type in my family. Because I'm really an example of what is possible. And I've used a very significant amount of time and resources and remembrance. Because memory is a funny thing. It is the truth. Perhaps not an accurate truth, but a truth. And we have to write it down. So has anyone read further articles in this series? If not, please do. jeffreylantarticles.com. So, any further comments about the rabbit's apps in the mirror?
And that's what we're looking at, people. These memories right here, you have people reading down from years to come, because they will know, hey, did our family do any of this? It brings back memories for other people to always remember the classics of what they have went through. In our church, we call these testimonies.
Good for you that it's organized like that. All right. Again, Easter coming up. We're going to be doing this for another. Patrice has just recorded this for the world, and you people here on YouTube, dig in. You're going to find hundreds and hundreds of these recordings that Patrice Porter has put together. Patrice must have been an archaeologist in a previous life, or a sociologist, because she is very keen on artifacts, making sure that the artifacts are collected, taken good care of, and whatever. And we have to thank Patrice as part of the process too, because her involvement may be the thing that keeps these alive for another few hundred years. We don't know. But we do know that they are living full life now in YouTube, which has so many hundreds of my articles and things. Someone said to me, you really wrote a lot. I'm not, and I want to tell you something, folks. I have barely scratched the surface. Barely scratched the surface. Let us go to talk about this next month of April that's coming up. I kind of gave you folks a bit of a breather yesterday, because March was so successful, I wanted to give you a little bit of a breather. Not too much, like a soup song of a breather. And then cash it and tell you my observations for what happened in April. But before I do that, I wanted to speak to Mr. Starr, I suppose, where is that a name? Mark, M-R-K. All right. Mark from Ireland. We have Cicely, Crowley, Edward Carter, and 88 people up in the rafters. I'm going to make my famous predictions. You people will be no better off in a month from now than you are today. You'll be no better off in a year from now than you were today. And I want you to write this down. It said, Dr. Lant predicted that I would not be any more prosperous than I was today, next week than I was this week, and so on and so forth. Why not? Because I detect so often and have seen so often in this group that you ought to do a little bit and achieve way more than you do. I ought to tell you a little bit about myself. I came into this organization because George Kosh invited me actually a little bit more than 24 years ago. And he made a very persuasive case. What he never said was, oh, you could take every Thursday off. Oh, you can do an hour a day. Oh, I never said to him, George, how little can I do? And he will confirm this. Oh, how little do I need to do? Do I do that much? And $99.95. We put in a lot more than $99.95 to create this place. Elizabeth Wapner, hold tight. I'll be with you in just a moment. You folks have got to up the ante. If there's going to be a significant return, you're going to have to up the ante. You know what to do. You see other people doing it. Now you see our friend Jeremiah Johnson, who was not by any means an inevitable choice for this job of sales leader. Oh, no. He had lots of bad habits, and I have lots of sledgehammers. Maybe he'll say a few words with us about his bad habits. But bit by bit he overcame most of them, or a few have lingered and will need to be dealt with. I want each of you to set a goal and then double it. And don't tell me the goal is impossible. It's not. You would have told me, Jeremiah, would you have said when Jeremiah Johnson would beat our champ? Would you
Nope.
30 days ago have said such a thing?
Nope.
And yet it is a reality. And I'm going to make a few predictions. Prediction number one, Linda will have her best month ever next month. I know, she's licking her wounds, so to speak. She doesn't like this. Linda, as you know, I'm a champion myself, but I never liked losing anything at any time. I don't care whether it's the street, I don't like losing it. So I have a suspicion, call it a hunch, call it a deduction, that she will have her best sales month ever in the month of April 2015. What do you say about that, Mr. William Buck? Does that sound like a plausible scenario?
Well, see, that's one thing about what we're talking about here. See, here's the whole thing that Dr. Lant's trying to lay out to you. You set goals, and then you set your plan to make that goal happen. See, there ain't no use in setting goals if you ain't got no plan to follow through with it. That's what we're trying to let you know is, don't just set the goal, but have a plan to stick to that goal and make it happen.
Now, apropos of that, I'll come back to Lynn in just a moment. We set this company up. We never borrowed a dime from a bank or a human being or any financial entity. This corporation grew from sales. What does that tell you? It tells you that happy people were the fuel that built this corporation and this community. Now, think about that for a minute. Other internet companies went to banks, went to venture capitalists, and of course a lot of that money was just wiped clear off the slide in 2008 and beforehand. We have kept the doors open for over 23 years. Happy customers. That's what's kept us in business. Do you think people who are unhappy would pay to keep this company alive? No, of course not. So it therefore stands to reason that this company exists for one good reason and no others need apply. We were good at what we did. We offered value for money. We were here when they needed us. All part of happy customers. Does anyone disagree with that? Does anyone wish to agree with that? You are all here because you were happy being here. All of you were here because you were happy being here. Now, that doesn't mean that some of you didn't believe in what I'm going to lecture on today. The greener grass. Oh my God, I'm going to talk about the greener grass. And I look at William Buck, and he went for the greener grass. And I went for Mr. Harris. He went for the greener grass. I can go right down this. And Jeremiah Johnson, our sales champion, went for the greener grass. In other words, at some point or other, you looked at this and said, well, this is great, but I know there's got to be something better. You knew that somewhere along in your head. No one ever showed you evidence, but you knew it. Is it true, Mr. Buck, that at one point or other you looked over the fence and said, my God, their grass over that fence as quick as possible? Is that true? Did that happen to you?
Yep, that's what happened.
And then what happened, sir? Tell us in grave detail. What happened when you climbed over the fence and you first trod on that grass that was supposedly so much greener?
Well, one thing we always do is we do the obvious, make mistakes. The mistake is you think everything is going to be done by just signing a few pieces of paper and not putting in any work. But you find out that as you can see the people elevate, like Jeremiah and Linda and everyone else, you say, hey, what are they doing that I'm not doing? That is putting forth some effort. And that's what we do. You just can't come in and sign the paper and think it's going to be done. When they say it's automated, yes, it is. But you got to learn how to set things up. Instructions. Go to the classes. Learn a little bit more. Then you will achieve what you want to do.
How many times did I jump over the fence and leave this company in the last 23 years, Mr. Buck? How many times did I say no to Worldprofit and yes to something over the fence? How many times?
None.
I never said it. I knew it would be difficult because George told me it would be difficult. And George is like your grown-up Boy Scout. He has a merit badge for truth, justice, and the American way. Yes, I know he's a Canadian. He still has it for the American way, too. You can have both. He never lied to me. He never said a piece of cake. You don't have to work on Sundays. You don't have to do this. You don't have to know HTML. You don't have to do. You don't have to do. You don't have to do. He never said that. He never distorted. He never disdained. He always was honest with me. You know what? You can either say that I'm an idiot because I went into the desert with no pledges, no guarantees, not 1 cent guaranteed, because this company, remember, was financed by happy people. Not 1 penny in 23 years for the growth and augmentation of this corporation. Did we borrow money? Not a single time. The sound point around that, someone had to say, George says he's working on an automated phone call system now. Just to make sure they don't have my number. I don't want any more calls. Good for everyone else, but not so good for me. George is here. George Kosh is here with us, as he always is here with us. He's just below the. He lives in the. They have baseball where the players are cut on. That's George. He's in that box.
And that's what we want to do, is give our props to George. And George is this. He gives you the step-by-step plan as to how things work and what you need to do to make it work. Not one time have I turned in a support ticket that he did not answer. And not only that, he have live training. And with that training, I tell you, if you attend it, your business will grow even faster. If you fail to attend, that means you fail to ask for help. And they will not help you if you never open up your mouth to say anything.
Let me tell you something. Again, I want to remind you, this company was financed by happy people. Day in the early years, when the internet was nothing, it had nothing that you see before, nothing on this page was even existed in those days. George would scotch tape to his computer a series of $20 bills. 1, 2, 5, 7, 8, 9, 12, whatever it was. That was the amount of money that we had to make that day, no ifs, ands, or buts, to stay in business. We resolved from day one we carried by happy people. Do you know how many people said that on the internet? Nobody. They went to financiers to borrow the money and lost part of their company. We didn't do that. We said we would finance it by our own sweat equity. If you don't know what it means you never created a business. Sweat equity means you do what you need to do at the time you need to do it to achieve the results you must achieve, to go where you want to go. And George Kosh's goal in life was not to create a corporation that made no money. Sandy Hunter's life was not to work hard at a corporation that made no money. My life was not to think that I wanted to make a corporation that made no money. We wanted to make money, but the good way, the best way, the happy people way. And what is wrong with that? And I'll tell you what's wrong with that, you people don't do what we do. You take the easy way. We didn't take the easy way. We took the necessary way, which could be hard or could be easy, depending on the vicissitude, depending on circumstances. And it pains me. Find people say, oh, well, I'll leave my business here alone for a week or so. Or I'll just go away for a month. Or I won't do that thing. Excuse me, that was not how the company was built. I didn't have to have a free Lant knocker on my head and say, get with the program, Lant. I was that nudge on myself as much as anyone else. Yes, you can be self-nudged. You're looking at one. And if you are not your own nudge, you have no chance of succeeding in this world. So what I want to do is I want to start April with the following things. I want Linda Elsie, who's been so magnificent in victory, to now be more magnificent in defeat. I want her to double her goal. I want her to show us what she's got in her heart, because I know, we all know, but you're never going to persuade me that Linda Elsie had her best showing in March of this year, and she didn't. I will never believe that. After all the commentators, I'm commenting now. She was good. She was good. She was good, but she could have been better. So now I'm saying to you, Linda, double whatever goal you think you've got, double that goal. And do whatever's necessary to get to that goal. People will listen to you. But right now, because you are, shall we say, the darker side of victory, you're going, well, if it's okay for Linda, it's okay. Well, it's not okay for Linda. Linda, I know so well, she's going to do everything possible to make her victory assured, because she's lost twice before. This is her third loss in all the many, many months that she's been with us. She lost 3 times. But she's never lost twice in a row. Jeremiah, you hear me? The lady has never lost twice in a row. And she's going to show us what she's made of. And I want to say I am so glad she lost. Because now she'll win bigger than ever. Any comment on that, Mr. Buck?
And that's what I like about Linda is she is a go-getter. The whole thing about it is this. She don't say a lot of words, but she put her action in words. That's what we're talking about is don't talk the walk, but walk the walk. And that's what Linda does.
Walk the walk you are capable of, not the one that you just lost. Don't look back upon the statistics for last month for any other reason but saying that wasn't good enough then and it's not good enough now. Now, Jeremiah, I have a few well-chosen words you, and you know that I never mince my words with you. I never mince them with Linda either. And I know you love me for it every time I say something that drives you crazy and makes your flesh crawl. I know you love me for it. I know that you're so glad we got this super news. I know sometimes you wish I'd fall in a mud puddle and be run over by the school bus, but it ain't going to happen. I'm going to push you two. And I'm going to advise you both. People said, isn't that a little odd? You would advise the both sides, the different sides? Of course it's odd. I want everyone to win. I want everyone to make money. And I know how to do it. And I'm going to beat you up. Or is that, did you ever feel the sort of my paddle, Mr. Buck, on a sort of an exposed portion of your anatomy? Did you ever feel I was whooping you there? From time to time? And were you happy? Or did you say, oh, Jeffrey Lant's taking time out of his busy life to whoop me? Did you just leap for joy in your office and say, oh, whoopee, whoopee? I don't think so, but you can tell us.
And that's what we're trying to
romp around after I whooped you?
What we're trying to let you know is this. We need to nudge people from time to time because we're looking for your success. We're not looking for the dollars or anything, but we want your success to always be a part of us. And that's the whole thing about it. And the reason why we nudge is, that's the whole thing people don't understand is, you gotta care enough to push enough, to shove enough, and all of a sudden the job will get done. Because we know people can do better. But we have not been instructed how to.
Well, you're going to now. I got a letter the other day that said, Jeffrey Lant, your sole goal for being in business is to make money. Excuse me, I live right down the street from Harvard Business School. Yes, and your point is, well, I'm supposed to be to take care of wounded antelopes. My job in this job is to make sure you all get richer. And you make it so difficult for me. You don't, when I call your name in the morning, evening, afternoon, you don't answer. When I say, have you done your homework, you say, oh, you don't answer. Excuse me, are you put here as an obstacle to your success? I'm already successful. I can walk from this job tomorrow and live a comfortable life for the rest of my days. But that's not going to happen. Because I insist that every single person in this company make money. And I insist that you do that by following the directions, which you don't do. Do you know that George Kosh, poor George Kosh, it breaks my heart to see him doing this. Because I know what a friend he is. Maybe in some ways more of a friend than I. But the bottom line is this. He always tells people 95 or 93% or whatever the percentage is, don't do the homework. Don't do anything in the boot camp. They don't pro. God, how are they thinking of? I didn't say to George, how can I get away from details? I said, what do you want me to do to build this enterprise? I put my heart and my soul in it because I don't do anything any other way. If you haven't figured that out about me now, you never know. I went into the desert with George and Sandy to make a wonderful oasis of opportunity, money, wealth, and stability, prosperity. And it works, and it will continue to work. But why then, if this is the case for us, and we're supposed to be some kind of role models, why don't you do what we did instead of the exact opposite? If we had sat on our duffs out there in the desert for as long as you have and nothing had happened, why, that would be the right way, wouldn't it? But we didn't do that. Every day he took those U.S. dollars, and it was U.S. dollars, not Canadian, and he put them up with Scotch tape on his computer, and he said, this is what we must have to keep the doors open. How many of you are doing that? How many people write off today and say, well, it doesn't matter. It matters. A day in your life, God gave you a day in your life. If you wasted it, what the hell, how can you go to face him in due course? And say, when he says to you, what did you do on this day? I did nothing. How can you possibly justify your existence when that's what it was about? I want to see every one of you better than you are today. I insist upon it. And I'm going to ask right now for a pledge from every one of you. How many of you will take the pledge to do more? Do it better. And never to cut an excuse and never to me. I'll give you the excuses if you need them when you don't see me. Give them to you, do you? Well, Mr. Buck, you have taken the pledge, and a wise pledge it is. And you know, because you're in the pledge business yourself, you know how important it is for the people to come forward and say, I'll believe it, Pastor, I'll do it, Pastor, I will help you, Pastor Buck. Don't think, haven't you done that in your own line of work? Haven't two more for this whole line of people? It's despicable. Put your name down and say that you'll do more, that you'll do better than you have done. If you think that April 2015 was your best, then you are sadly mistaken. You are sadly going forward to the world if that's your best. It isn't your best. It can't be your best. It mustn't be your best. If that's your best, then you will never achieve the best. You want to speak to that? You know, do I not sound like William Buck? Do I not sound like Pastor Buck of Louisville? I think some people said, you know, Dr. Lant, you sound remarkably like Pastor Buck. And I said, no, he sounds remarkably like me.
But what we're trying to let you know is, people, is this. You cannot just, you know, the book says this way. You'll keep by the sweat of your brow. How many are really sweating today? Because, see, that's how you're not going to get anything.
Nobody sweated in the month of April. Not a single person. You'll never find me a person. Yes, our friend Jeremiah did more. But he only did enough to beat. He didn't do enough to shine. He didn't need enough to throw an example. He's not an example to us now. He is a person who might become one. But he is not. I'm not going to put his picture across. See, because he wins by 2 points. Oh, no. You have to do that with me. If you want to be seen as an idol, if you want to be seen as a person, a winner, then you've got to do more. You know, I didn't have to write my autobiography. I didn't have to hundreds and hundreds of hours figuring out the genre and how to write it, what to say and how to say it. I did it because it was necessary. It was necessary for the way literature is presented. And I said, I can do this. I can change the way literature is presented. And I will do it. Whether anybody likes it or not, I'll do it. Now, friends, I'm not seeing, I've seen two names. I see William Buck and I see Patrice. And all the people that are going to do better? Are the rest of you going to put your head under the Michael Harris, you of all people, where is your name on this list? Linda Elsie, of all people, where is your name on this list? Provide the guidance that the people need. Guide the people. The people need the help. And not because they think April was a resplendent victory. It was not. It was far too standard. Far too little hero-like for me, my saying way. What do you think, Mr. Buck? Can you do a little bit better? Will you do a little bit better?
And the reason why we ask you to do better, people, is this. We tell you you will have consistent. How things going to be consistent if you don't have no recruits? You don't have nobody to follow you. See, what we're trying to let you know is bring them in, instruct them, get them going, and we will get them out there and like they were producers for tomorrow. Now, tomorrow do not come easy.
I want to talk about that green grass. I'm not finished with that grass. Virtually every senior person in this company, with the exception of George Koch, Jeffrey Lant, and Sandy Hunter. And we didn't need to be reminded of what our goal was. We're living it. We were growing a corporation based on the reflections and the purchases of happy people everywhere on this earth. Think about that. The next time anyone says, what kind of a company is Worldprofit, say for 30, for its entirely life, they financed it off of happy people, customers. For people who bought things, used things, enjoyed the things, profited from the things, and were glad to have the things. That's what kind of a company this is. And I want to say this to MRK from Ireland and to Edward Carter. Wherever you've been on the internet, you've never seen the CEO get up on his hind legs and say, we financed this company by happy people. Happy people built this company. And then there were those who said, well, I'm happy there, I'm reasonably happy, but I want money. They climbed the fences of the green grass, and Mr. Buck was one of them. Mr. Buck, why did you go? And then I wanted to know, why did you come back?
The whole thing which you know is this. I was a quitter because here I was looking at something that my body was fighting, and that was I had a busted back. That's the bottom, but I wasn't the mind. And Dr. Lant said, hey, look, that mind shouldn't be like that. Didn't you not read what it says there in Romans? Let this mind be in you. So I had to do better. And that's what we're trying to let you know is we cannot let little circumstances hold us back. Little bitty illness, little bitty sickness, and whatever your mind may have. You cannot let finances hold you back. If you want your finances to be better, you got to do better. And that's what we're trying to let you know is you ain't getting no Bill Gates overnight.
It's a 2-point thing. You left, you did on the other grass, and you came back. I want to hear that. I want to hear that story because I want these people to hear it.
And the reason why we come back is this is, look, I came in this business looking for something, an opportunity. The opportunity was given to me, but I was just too blind to see it then, but I see it now. And that's what we're trying to let you know is, open your eyes and see your real opportunity. This is for you, your family, yourself. We cannot point fingers to nobody else and say, well, they didn't teach me, they didn't show me. Do it for yourself. Do it for your children. Do it for your family. That's the reason why I'm here.
You know, one of the things that peeves me off is, oh, this is all easy for you. You went to Harvard. You got a scholarship. You wrote books. You did this. You met the Queen. I said, do you think any of those things just happened, that someone just came to the front door and said, oh, today you didn't meet the Queen? Everything that I did was achievement-oriented. It came because I said that such a thing I would do, and I would do it. And what you're really getting in my autobiography is a punch in the nose. It tells you exactly how did it all happen. Within my powers of observation and recitation, I tell you how it all happened. And if you people have been reading my autobiography now since we started it over a year ago, if you haven't learned one thing about me now is that I don't do things in a half-assed way. And I'm not going to let you do them either. If you think that you come up with excuses to me about why you can't doubt a person to write negatively. If you came up and say, I want you to do this, when you won't do your part of it, I contemn you. Contemn, the form of contempt. And so, friends, I want you to readjust yourself, as we have had to do, as Josh had to do in response to activities on the internet. Do you think he's the same man now that he was 23 years ago? Only in this particular, that he would never take failure for an answer. Never! And Sandy Hunter, you have no idea how pertinacious she is. Oh, the lady is a stalwart. She doesn't just talk. She doesn't just talk that talk. She walks the walk, and you all know it. You've all dealt with it. And as for me, my record speaks for itself. You're not going to get away with something little when I suspect that you could do something better. How many of you, I'm still waiting. I'm still waiting for you to tell me that you're going to be better in this month of April. How many of you are going to be better? And now we're going to turn our attention to the 150 people up there looking at the rafters. You people are the worst of all, because you talk. You say you're going to do a thing, and you never do the thing. Edward Carter, why is it taking you 7 times to see what is right before your eyes? And Alex from the Russian Federation, and Rudy, and all these other people. I don't like what I see. You come in here, you ask for everything, and are willing to give nothing. That is the prescription for certain failure. You want to speak to them, Mr. Buck? These people come in and want us to give it to them on a silver platter. And they're all surprised they have to do the tiniest moiety of work.
99.95 will get you started in this business. That's everything. You need to take advantage. These opportunities only last but one lifetime.
And again, for those of you who think the grass is greener and you found the opportunity down the road, I challenge you. Find that company and bring them to me. Put their URL on the screen and we will do an apples to apples, oranges to oranges comparison. And I can prove to you that what you're looking at is dross. Can you prove to yourself that what we're looking at isn't? We have everything in place that you need. Absolutely everything, including a kind of honesty that brings forth my remarks. How many times have you seen the CEO of a company beat up his own people? I'm beating you up because I love you. And I offer no apologies for beating you up. I only beat up those that I love, and you know that's true, Mr. Buck. If you're not getting beat up by me, I don't think very high to go to heaven. Is that so?
Oh, we're trying to let you know, people, we got to give you that nudge, because the whole thing about it is you got the sheep and you got the goat. Which one are you?
God knows. Somebody that think I'm the goat for sure. Now, I'm going to go through and make some recommendations here, since all of you are afraid. Dr. Lant, people are afraid of you. You know why they're afraid of me? Because I just cannot be suppressed. You just can't say, put a sock in it, Lant, and go away. It ain't going to happen. When I put my heart and soul in something, I hope my heart and soul in something, and I don't need to make excuses, and you don't need to hear excuses from me about why it wasn't done. If it wasn't done, it was my problem. If it was done, that's what I do. Now, here we go. Linda Elsie, I know you don't want to come out and speak to me, and I'm the last person in the world you want to speak to, but I'm your friend, and I always have been, and I always will be. And I'm saying to you, you're hurting now, perhaps. You're probably very tired by now. Take a day or two off, lounge about the house, eat chocolate, and do whatever you like to do. Then, come back and win. You have a vested interest in the throne. You gave it up to the competitor yesterday. But I know you see it says Elsie on there, little letters on every leg. You've got to win it back. And I'm going to be teaching Jeremiah how to whip you. You're going to have to use more of your wiles, or else you'll be whipped again. And I don't think it'll happen. My prediction now on record goes, I believe Linda Elsie will regain her throne. And I believe it will be the best salesman she's ever had. And by God, Linda, don't let me down. Now, Jeremiah, because I can play both ends against the middle of Jeremiah, isn't that it's a new kind of sportscasting right before your eyes. I advise both teams on what to do. Jeremiah, you won and you put in so many hours. Some people grumbled about the number of hours put in, and I knew what you were doing and I was applauded you. I believe in initiative. And if you wanted those hours, by God, man, I won't have them go empty. When a person is willing to take those hours, and he did take the hours, and he got tired. And his good wife wondered, what the hell are you doing, my dear Jeremiah? What are you doing? What is he doing? He's establishing himself as a champ. That's what he's doing, and he knows it takes extra time. Many times he was tired. He was worn out. And I said, you can't be worn out. You're a champ. Champs can't get worn out. You're going to do it and shut up. By God, if I wasn't through the night with him numerous occasions, pushing him. And one night, not so long ago, I found him doing something which was abhorrent to me, completely blowing his tail, and I got up on the screen and said, stop! Jeremiah, you suck. Customer, come over here. I'll save the bacon. Nobody knows everything they need to know about sales, including me. Although I know pretty much all. Nobody knows as much about technology as George Koch. Well, maybe somebody owns a little bit. We are here performing our tasks. And the grass is not greener. And unless for those of you who are failing to make this decision, I'm going to tell you something. There's no George Koch. You have no technical representative for your interest in any other company in the world. Think about it. Koch is unique. You ought to grab him and wrap him up in cellophane and take him home. He's that unique and none of the other things. Nobody has a person as empathetic as Sandy Hunter. The woman is a phenomenon. I could no more do. I would have a murder rap as long as my arm if I had her job. You know that's quite possibly true. She deals with human beings in a human being fashion. Wow! What an amazing development that is. The woman cares, and it shows every day. And as for me, I make no apologies. I'll beat you right across the finish line and take you again across the finish line. I care more about your victory for yourself than you do. And that's a fact. And those of you who are listening in outside, you never heard this kind of talk, and as a result, you're outside and you're in the mud and the dust, and where the grass is not greener, and Mr. Carter and all his like, you have got no hope on this internet. And why say anything other than making money without all the things that we offer? Is that true, Mr. Buck? Does he have any hope in the snowball's chance in hell without these tools we offer him?
And Mr. Carter, what we're letting you know is, if you fail to take advantage of this offer that we have and go ahead and get that silver package and start your own business, then you're only hurting yourself and your family. You got to look yourself in the mirror and say, I had that opportunity, but I turned it down.
Now, Jeremiah, my advice to you, given Linda hers, I'm going to give you yours. She's going to whoop you if you continue on the same path that you were on for April. You'd say, well, that's a victory. I'd say that she sees it as two itsy-bitsy points. Like, what? She's probably sitting in the kitchen going, what the hell? 2 points? Me, Linda Elsie, the great Queen of the May. She screwed up. She didn't quite have that last oomph that she needed. She didn't put him away when she could have. Well, dear Maya, you watch for the next week. If she starts racking up some serious numbers this week, she is going to put you under a spittle and turn you and twist you till you are fricassee. And I should hear they like down in Kentucky, right? But Jeremiah, I want you to set your goal, double your goal. Now for the rest of you, who so like looking and don't like me to rock your boat, I'm going to rock your boat. This corporation was established in part because I rock boats, and a lot of them. One of my professors at Harvard told me in my very first day at Harvard, he said, you now have the Harvard seal of approval. You are now one of the best and the brightest. He said, but here's what we demand from you in return. You have to take on the big projects, the projects that nobody else wants to do, the projects that are difficult. This wasn't easy. We're defining worldwide commerce, people. Worldprofit, a company based in Canada, in a place I never heard of, called Edmonton. It's changing the world, thanks to George Kosh and Sandy Hunter. And they were grateful. I was grateful to them. I was surprised, happy, grateful, and a little daunted too. Why not? We're reshaping the whole world. What's not to be daunted about? I feel the way Hernan Cortez did when he took over Mexico. I want to speak to all you other people. Dream bigger. Aim higher. Stop feeling so that you're working so hard. Never tell me, of all people, that you're working hard. I don't want to hear it. I work hard not because it's something that I like to do, but because it's necessary. And besides, I like to interact with the people, and I have friends all over the world. Up the ante. When you look at yourself and you're position number 10 and number 16 and number 47, you didn't have a good month. Don't even try to say, oh, I brought in weight, 2 people. That isn't good enough. Champions can't do that a little bit. You've got to up the ante, and I'll be watching you. If you don't like it, you know what I say? That is the Jeffrey Lant seal of approval right there. Mr. Buck, we're beginning to run out of time. I want to bring up Miss Patrice Porter right now. There's something to say now, then she's going to come up, and then you're going to come back, and we're going to whip these people into shape, right? God bless America, Mr. Buck. We are having a good time. Okay, she says her camera's still not working. Mr. Buck, come back. You are now at Patrice Porter. Patrice, post your tomato enterprises and your garden enterprises right now. And for God's sake, Patrice, get that camera fixed. Mr. Buck, your final sentiments, please.
What we're saying to all of you is you got to have more effort in everything that you do. Because I tell you what, I got a good question for you. Look at my favorite team, 48-0, the Kentucky Wildcats. Play Saturday, and we can go 40-0. Why? Because we play harder than the next team. And that's what we're trying to say. You want to be better? Work a little harder. Work a little harder. Work a little more. In other words, get with Jeremiah. Get with Miss Linda. Find out places that they're advertising. They'll tell you. Because they already know that you ain't going to post your information. But you got to prove them wrong. So what I'm saying is, talk to the people that you see at the top. And then you'll find out how you can get to the top.
Now, I want to tell you something. You've heard me say this before. Perhaps it was a good day to reiterate it. My cousin, General George Caitlin Marshall, was the chief soldier of World War II. He was the first Secretary of Defense. He was the Secretary of State. He was a Nobel Prize winner for peace. He personally, working with Harry Truman, saved the countries of Turkey and Greece. Why did he do it? He did it because that was the goal, to save 2 nations from going to be communists. And he went there himself to supervise the successful policy. At the other end of my family tree, Harold Macmillan, Prime Minister of England, 1957-63. He is the man who freed most countries in the history of the world. Decolonization was his government's policy. We had a gentleman in here yesterday, and I told him that I had a set of the original coins from Ghana that were created for the independence there, and he didn't even know that what years on the country had become independent. I told him it was in 1957. My family has a record of changing the world. I'm not going to be beneath any of them. I've got a pretty good money to live up to, and I intend to do it. And I'm going to do it by helping you reach your goals. If I'm not helping you, it's your own damn fault. I'm here every day. You won't necessarily like what I say, but I'll never lie to you. I'll never tell you some flavor of truth. I'll never put sugar on it. You get the point? I'm here to ensure that each and every one of you are winners. Are we all worth it for this? I want to see some messages on the screen that, yes, sir, we realize we are a team, and I am the captain. And God knows, that, Mr. Buck, you know that there are many captains in those football teams and what have you, but aren't always the most sweetest type of people in the round, but they get results. Now, we're going to be ending here in a moment. Does anyone have any questions, observations? And Miss Cosby, I want to say something to you. I see you just snuck in. I am the guy that monitors the monitors. I created the concept. What the hell are you writing to anyone else for? Am I not here? Am I a fly on the wall? Am I effervescent? When you have something to say about monitors, just say it to me, the man who created the concept. George Koch invented the software. And I said, we're going to put people in there and we're going to have it run 24 hours a day. Everybody said, you are crazy. No one's ever going to do that. No one's going to buy into that concept. I had 100% of the people that were asked for their opinion say, yeah, you mad? No one's going to do that. No one's going to sit up there in a box and give advice, free advice to people all over the world. Well, that person has eaten his shorts long ago. I hope you enjoyed the pungent taste. Miss Cosby, I want your understanding here. Do you understand what I'm saying? When you have something to say regarding the monitor, just say it to me. Mr. Buck, the last word. We still have 3 minutes to wow the world.
What we're letting you know, people, is this is a great opportunity. There's money to be made, but it's up to you to make difference. If you're not trying to put forth any effort, you're going to lose.
Lisa Cosby says, you didn't respond to me. Excuse me. Can you ever imagine how many emails that I receive that need attention? And every one of them is, I am the first thing you should do, Lant. It might be having to change the cookies and little items in the cookie jar. If I didn't get through to you the first time, which I don't even believe I even looked at that, then send it again. You think President Obama will respond to every letter that he receives the minute he gets it? No. Folks, let's get some realism in all this. Everything you selfish people want, and I use the word advising, and I love you all to death, and I cuddle you all and kick you all to death, and you well know it. But you're all like, give me first, give me. I say to you, I'll get around to it when I, as a human being, can possibly do it by order of priority, what's important and what is not. And Lisa, with all good wishes, you should have sent it right back to me and said, sir, you're not paying attention to me. And then you could have rattled, you all would have been happy, right? Now I've succeeded in my goal. Lisa's not angry with me. Goody! If you're not angry with me, I'm not doing my job. Mr. Buck, in the spirit of the season, would you offer us a little prayer for Easter?
Eternal all-wise God, we just want to say thank you, Lord God, that we was able to know you and you have made a way for us. Now, Lord, as we are trying on this side of the world to show people, Lord God, ways to change their living, let them open their eyes and feel your covering, Lord God. Let them realize that you are the one. And we are trying to show them, Lord God, that they don't have to live in the shape that they're in or the misery they're in. But they can be self-financed if only they will just pay attention and learn. So teach us, Lord God, how to number our days and teach us how to show them, Lord God, the ways that they must go. We ask in Jesus' name, amen.
I want to thank you, Reverend Buck. You've been with us on so many of these occasions of poignancy and seriousness and even good fellowship. And I just want to say this to all the people in this company. We are not based for one religion or another. We believe that all religions have good things to say to us. We want to learn from them all. We don't have to believe in them all, but we can learn from all. And that was also the policy of this administration. So thank you, William, for your decade. ecumenical comments. Thank you for others for sharing their Easter thoughts with us. And I want to close this meeting by saying something to my mother, wherever she is. And she said, "Was I a good mother?" And I end this program and say, "Yes, the best of all." And on that happy note, Mr. Buck, we are going to adjourn our proceedings till tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern, where the truth will ring out, all from Cambridge, Massachusetts, the home of Harvard and the Internet, to all our friends all across the world. God bless America. God bless Worldprofit. God bless each and every member of our team. And let's wish Jeremiah and Linda well. There you have their work cut out for them. Both of them are champions. It's going to be an exciting month, William. Exciting, terribly exciting, right from the get, right to the last second.
And we're also letting y'all know is, if y'all have not put y'all bets down, go Cats. Kentucky Wildcats will win the championship.
that William Buck, they ought to put him in the Chamber of Commerce for that political reason. All right, who is the next monitor?